Smart truck owners across America are quietly doing something that would have sounded insane 10 years ago. They're selling their brand new trucks and going back to vehicles that are 20, 25, even 30 years old. Not because they can't afford new ones, but because modern trucks have become so expensive, so overcomplicated, and so failure-prone that many owners are realizing the older trucks actually last longer, cost less to own, and are easier to live with long-term. And once you see what's happening underneath the hood of a lot of modern trucks, you'll understand exactly why this shift is happening. A baseline new pickup truck in 2026 can easily cost $58,000, while the average price of a new pickup truck across the industry has skyrocketed to over $60,000. That is not a loaded luxury trim. That is a baseline consumer truck with a cloth interior and steel wheels. If you step into the heavy-duty commercial segment, that number climbs to between $170,000 and $220,000, driven almost entirely by the engineering costs of complying with federal emissions mandates that have nothing to do with making the truck more useful to you. And the moment you drive that $58,000 truck off the lot, it loses 20 to 30% of its value. Not over 5 years, not over 3 years, the moment you leave the dealership. Within 36 months, that loss expands to 40 to 50%. Within 5 years, you have lost up to 60% of the money you spent. The first owner of a new truck is not buying transportation. They are funding a depreciation event, and the second owner gets to buy that same truck at a fraction of the original cost. That is the first reason smart truck owners are going back to old trucks. The depreciation curve on a vehicle that is 5 years old or older has already flattened completely. You are not absorbing anyone's loss. You are buying a stable asset, and the capital you save by not purchasing new does not disappear. It buys you a premium, fully optioned secondary market truck with high-dollar modifications already installed. Lift kits, trailer hitches, multi-view cameras, heavy-duty sway bars, all absorbed into the base price at a deep discount because the first owner paid full retail for every one of those upgrades. If you are getting value out of this breakdown, hit that like button and subscribe. We cover the real-world information that manufacturers and dealerships will not tell you. But the financial argument is only the beginning. The deeper reason experienced truck owners are walking away from new vehicles is what has happened to the engineering underneath the hood. And this is where the story gets serious. Modern truck engines are not failing because manufacturers stopped caring. They are failing because federal corporate average fuel economy targets and tightening emissions standards have forced engineers to make compromises that directly conflict with long-term mechanical durability. To extract small fuel economy gains, manufacturers moved to high gear count transmissions, direct injection, complex turbochargers, and cylinder deactivation systems. Every one of those technologies packs sensitive components into a high heat environment and increases the probability of mechanical failure. The data backs this up. A landmark study by J.D. Power found that 42 to 46% of heavy-duty truck owners reported experiencing some type of engine-related problem within the first 12 to 18 months of service. In 2004, before major emissions regulations reshaped engine design, that number was 26%. Fleet managers are now reporting that brand new commercial vehicles frequently arrive from the factory with active check engine lights, creating a 20% out-of-service norm for trucks that have never been driven a single mile in revenue service. General Motors' 6.2-liter V8 engines have experienced sudden block failures under 20,000 miles. Their modern 10-speed transmissions have required multiple complete warranty replacements within short operational windows. Ford's high-output EcoBoost platforms experience severe thermal stress on their turbochargers, replacements running upward of $2,000 per unit, Ram's 48-volt e-torque mild hybrid systems show high failure rates near 60,000 miles, with repair bills reaching $4,000 for component replacement. Even Toyota, a brand built on reliability, has issued recalls for complete long block replacements on its twin turbocharged V6 platforms due to residual machining debris causing sudden engine lockups. The most catastrophic modern failure point is one that most truck buyers have never heard of, and it is destroying engines that are barely broken in. General Motors' active fuel management and dynamic fuel management systems use specialized collapsing hydraulic lifters to deactivate cylinders under light loads. The concept is simple: shut off half the engine when you do not need the power, save fuel. The execution is a mechanical disaster. The internal locking pins, springs, and small oil passages within these specialized lifters are prone to sticking, clogging, and permanently collapsing. When a lifter fails to pump back up, it creates a dead hole. The valves remain closed, the engine misfires, and metal shavings begin circulating through the oil passages. If that collapsed lifter is not caught immediately, it grinds down the camshaft lobe. The camshaft lobe sends metallic shrapnel through the oil passages. The shrapnel reaches the main bearings. The engine is destroyed, and this is happening on trucks with fewer than 50,000 miles on the odometer. The fix requires a complete physical teardown. The cylinder heads come off. All 16 lifters are extracted and discarded. The AFM camshaft is replaced with a standard non-AFM unit. A solid aluminum block-off plate replaces the factory lifter oil manifold assembly. The ECM is reflashed to permanently erase the AFM coating. That is an expensive, intensive, multi-thousand-dollar physical teardown on a truck that was supposed to be saving you fuel money. And the fuel savings the AFM system actually delivers in real-world use are minimal, because the excess oil consumption caused by the deactivation cycles burns off whatever efficiency gains the system was designed to produce. Subscribe to this channel if you want to stay ahead of issues like this. We cover the mechanical realities that the manufacturers will not put in the brochure. For heavy-duty diesel operators, the situation is even more severe, and the financial consequences are even larger. Modern diesel powertrains are burdened by a complex chain of emissions equipment: exhaust gas recirculation valves, diesel oxidation catalysts, diesel particulate filters, and selective catalytic reduction systems using diesel exhaust fluid. This network operates in an environment of extreme heat, soot, and vibration. When it fails, and it fails regularly, the consequences are not a warning light and a trip to the shop. The consequences are a hard limp mode shutdown on the side of the highway, a flatbed tow to a specialized service center, and a repair bill that can reach $10,000 before you have replaced a single engine component. Basic professional cleaning of a single clogged diesel particulate filter runs $300 to $600. A full DPF replacement runs $3,000 to $6,000. If the failed DPF damages the upstream diesel oxidation catalyst, which it frequently does, the combined replacement bill reaches $5,000 to $10,000. And the selective catalytic reduction system adds its own failure modes. The urea-based diesel exhaust fluid is highly corrosive to standard metals. When water evaporates from the solution during low-load operations, the remaining urea forms solid white crystal deposits that clog injection nozzles, seize delivery pumps, and foul NOx sensors. In northern climates, DEF freezes at 12 degrees Fahrenheit, and when the tank heater fails, the truck enters an unalterable limp mode sequence that cannot be cleared without a dealer visit. Pre-emissions diesel platforms avoided every one of these failure modes entirely. The 1994 to 1997 Ford OBS 7.3-liter Power Stroke, engineered before EGR valves, DPF filters, or DEF systems were mandated, regularly exceeds 350,000 to 500,000 miles with basic fuel and oil changes. No after-treatment system, no limp mode, no $10,000 filter replacement, just a cast iron block, 6 head bolts per cylinder, and Caterpillar-licensed hydraulic injectors that have been running reliably for 30 years. There is a third reason smart truck owners are going back to old trucks, and it is one that most people are not talking about yet, but they should be. Modern connected vehicles have evolved into invasive surveillance endpoints. Through integrated cellular modems, onboard telematics systems, and continuous satellite connectivity, your new truck is tracking and recording your ignition frequency, your acceleration patterns, your cornering forces, your anti-lock brake activations, your high-speed intervals, your late-night driving habits, and your real-time geographic location, continuously, without your active knowledge and without your meaningful consent. General Motors, operating through its OnStar network, integrated a native smart driver program into more than 14 million vehicles across the United States. While promoted as a gamification utility to help improve driving habits, the software quietly compiled comprehensive driver profiles and sold them to commercial data brokers, including LexisNexis Risk Solutions and Verisk Analytics. Those brokers synthesized the raw driving history into proprietary consumer driving scores and sold them directly to insurance corporations. The real-world consequence for owners was sudden, unannounced insurance premium increases of 21% or more, and in some cases, outright coverage denials from multiple carriers after their files were flagged for basic driving actions like hard braking or late-night travel. In early 2026, General Motors agreed to a $12.75 million settlement with the California Attorney General's office, following a civil enforcement action for violating state privacy mandates and misleading consumers about how their location history was used. The Federal Trade Commission imposed a strict 5-year ban prohibiting GM from disclosing consumer geolocation data or driving history to third-party consumer reporting agencies. Similar litigation remains pending in Texas, where 1.8 million regional truck owners were affected by unauthorized tracking. An analog truck with no integrated cellular modems, no tracking software, and no external data connections creates a complete firewall against this kind of exploitation. That is not a conspiracy theory. That is a documented legal reality. And for a growing number of truck owners, it is the deciding factor. So, what are the specific platforms that experienced buyers are targeting? The data points to 4 clear choices: the General Motors GMT 800 platform, the 1999 to 2006 Chevrolet Silverado and GMC Sierra is widely regarded by mechanics as a high point in modern truck engineering. The Generation 3 Vortec, the 8 engines in these trucks feature a simple iron block design with standard fixed lifters and 0 AFM cylinder deactivation hardware. Many examples comfortably exceed 300,000 miles on the factory long block. The one known mechanical flaw is the transfer case pump rub on 4-wheel drive variants, a microscopic hole worn through the magnesium case wall by the internal oil pump. The fix is a simple aftermarket case saver plate that costs under $100 and takes an afternoon to install. The second-generation Toyota Tundra from 2007 to 2021 is built around the naturally aspirated 5.7-liter 3URF EV8. Thick block walls, heavy-duty forged connecting rods, and a complete absence of cylinder deactivation technology. These trucks routinely clear 250,000 to 300,000 miles with only basic oil and fluid maintenance, and they command premium prices on the used market because the market already knows what they are worth. The second-generation Toyota Tacoma from 2005 to 2015 offers a similarly bulletproof platform. built with thick-gauge steel frames, simple electronic layouts, and heavy-duty drivetrain components. These trucks handle extreme off-road conditions and minimal maintenance cycles without major failures. They hold their value better than almost any other used truck in the segment. And for heavy-duty diesel applications, the 1994 to 1997 Ford OBS 7.3-liter Power Stroke stands alone. Cast from heavy-duty structural iron, utilizing 6 robust 12mm head bolts per cylinder, and using Caterpillar hydraulic electronic unit injector technology that bypasses the need for a failure-prone, high-pressure mechanical fuel pump. This engine was engineered long before modern exhaust restrictions were mandated. It avoids them entirely, and it runs for 500,000 miles because of it. Now, buying an older truck is not without its own requirements. These are not plug-and-play purchases. They demand a disciplined approach to maintenance and a clear-eyed assessment of the vehicle's condition before you commit. Structural corrosion from road salt and humidity is the primary threat to aging steel truck frames. High vulnerability areas, cab corners, rocker panels, rear wheel wells, and frame cross members must be inspected thoroughly. Deep rust or perforation requires cutting out the damaged metal and replacing it with stamped steel panels. Once structural integrity is confirmed, the frame should be treated with a heavy-duty rust inhibitor and sealed with undercoating and internal cavity wax to prevent future moisture penetration. Suspension components degrade over decades of heavy use. A complete refresh, front ball joints, tie rod ends, steering linkages, rubber control arm bushings, restores the handling precision that makes an older truck feel tight and confident rather than loose and unpredictable. High-quality gas-charged shocks eliminate body roll. Premium ceramic brake pads and warped-resistant rotors ensure short stopping distances under load. The interior of a legacy truck can be brought fully current with a modern double-DIN touchscreen head unit using vehicle-specific wiring adapters. Introducing Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, hands-free Bluetooth, and live navigation without touching the factory wiring harness. A high-definition rear-view camera run from the rear license plate to the center display vastly improves visibility and simplifies trailer hookups. Sound-deadening mats under the carpets and fresh weather stripping create a quiet, comfortable interior that rivals new models in daily use. The return to legacy truck platforms is not nostalgia. It is a calculated financial and mechanical decision made by owners who have done the math and read the data. Skyrocketing purchase prices, steep depreciation curves, complex valve train failures, catastrophic emissions, system costs, and invasive data tracking networks have fundamentally changed the value proposition of buying new. The owners who understand this are not driving old trucks because they cannot afford new ones. They are driving old trucks because they have figured out that newer does not mean better. And in 2026, the gap between what a legacy truck costs to own and what a modern truck costs to own is wider than it has ever been. Do your homework, find a clean platform, maintain it properly, and you will have a truck that serves you faithfully long after the new ones have been rebuilt twice. Like this video if it helped, subscribe for more honest truck content, and we will see you in the next one.